Our cult has just woken up their mummy, Amasis, from his tomb in the Paris catacombs, but the cult were pursued by members of the Gestapo, most of whom were eliminated by the tomb's traps or Amasis's might himself. One survived, a German by the name of Hans, who has heretofore been recruited into the cult, though much to the chagrin of Genevieve the body thief. Marcel and Genevieve led Amasis and Hans to their café Le Chrysanthème, where the reason for waking Amasis was made clear. The cult leader, Monsieur Raphael Ney, has gone missing. Now it was Genevieve's suspicion that he was taken by the Germans, and that suspicion proved to be correct. Hans explained that he was suspected of resistance affiliation, and that Hans had heard Raphael had been snatched up from a tavern or a dance hall somewhere in the city. And without a cult leader, the cult lacked severe and serious knowledge that only Amasis could fill in. Unfortunately, due to the mummy's curse, he cannot provide that information immediately. He lacks memory of where he last was, when he last was, and indeed many facts of his own personal identity. So here we are, the morning after, at Le Chrysanthème. Hans has been nursing his burn wounds and is about to set out to explain, with body in tow of one of his former colleagues from the Gestapo, that they had been set upon, caught in a fire, and that he was the only survivor. He has explained he will reunite with you as soon as he is able. He doesn't know how long he's going to be questioned for by his colleagues in the Gestapo, whether they will even believe his story, but the burns on his skin and uniform certainly seem real enough.
I'm going to tell him that not to worry, that wherever he goes, we'll be able to find him, and that if he's in trouble, or if things are coming up, or that Amasis doesn't like, that he will know, and he will send people, or even come himself to rescue him.
Hans looks on one hand reassured and on the other deeply nervous at the support come threat that you've just given him. I will be back with you as soon as I can. You have my words. The power of Amasis cannot be denied.
Yeah, he would just pleasantly smile and look quite convincing, as is his way.
So nice, he's pretending to be one of us.
Hans shoots Genevieve a glare before disappearing from the cafe.
I am simply somewhere, I suppose in a back room of the cafe, where I have spent the night, and am waiting now simply cross-legged in deep meditation.
Mummies don't require sleep. Likewise, they don't require sustenance of any kind. But spending the time to meditate is never harmful. It can sometimes ground one of the arisen, make them remember flashes of memory. Especially helpful is that here in your informal cult hideout, one would assume the cafe is not the central branch of Amasis' cult, but who can say how vast the cult of such an ancient being may truly be. Fortunately, you have several low-powered vessels around your hideout. Now, a vessel is an item, an artifact, that has been imbued with the power of Sechem. Sometimes they come with all manner of explosive magical benefits, but also curses, because any artifact crafted in the Nameless Empire, while truly beneficial to some individuals that wield it, may also damn others to an eternity of rot and decay. Still, you have several of these artifacts around your hideout, and just their presence, their situation, is enough to give Amasis some satisfaction.
Also, there was one other thing I did during the night. In deep meditation, extended an utterance. This utterance is one that all Arisen know, and all Arisen also always know it as soon as they wake. It is the utterance of dreams of dead gods. And at tier 1, it allows me to sort of extend my will, as it were, normally around a specific task or purpose. And then fate itself will bring to others dreams of my will, suffering, in this case, the dead dreamer condition, where they are plagued by nightmares of duet and the horrifying futures that await them. These visions haunt them even during the waking hours, pushing them to fulfill the task set before them or perish in torment. This duration lasts until every dreamer resolves the condition. If unleashed during a death cycle, it does other interesting things. In this case, I have cast it to tier 2, in fact, where not only does it terrify potential minions, but also can make them feel certain feelings of obsession for me. And the command at this stage is simple. I must find my high priest, and any who are worthy must join me and serve me. Now, I do not know who this will affect, or when it will affect them, but I know, in time, people will come, or at least try to fulfill my desires.
You know that your dream has been cast far and wide. You don't know how many people might respond to it, how many will serve you gladly, how many will be so afflicted by nightmares that they will be potentially driven to madness. Such are the vagaries of the powers of gods. While you wait on a response, you almost wait for that fated sign of someone entering the cafe, someone who may be important. Genevieve and Marcel are within the kitchen, now having been left by their German friend. What's their plan of action? They did discuss potentially visiting some of these dancing halls or tavernas to see whether they could track down the last known whereabouts of Raphael.
My guess would be that we are currently concluding a conversation where I'm saying, should I make him some food? Probably deciding against it, but then moving back to the plan that we had. Marcel will sort of just be scratching his head, trying to think of places he knew Raphael to frequent, perhaps places where he met him in the past. But he'll turn to Genevieve and say, really, I don't get out as much as I would like. I tend to... Well, you know how it is. I can't be seen to be frequenting other establishments when I'm trying to attract customers to come in here.
It's understandable. It's not like it's been anything interesting showing during wartime.
I mean, have you seen him around out there at all?
No, I think I've only seen him here, actually. I'm taking a quick look at my skills. I have nothing in investigation, so...
Do you have any merits along the lines of contacts?
Nope.
Well, all you do know from Hans is that he had heard he'd been taken from some kind of dancing and drinking establishment. So you can pound the streets if you like.
As a level 2 member of the cult, do I happen to know any other associates of Raphael's that might know more?
You do. Raphael would occasionally consort with a highly religious lady by the name of Suzanne Gibert. She isn't, and Raphael made this quite clear to you, a member of your cult, but you always got the impression she was a member of another one. How someone could believe in anything other than your own personal god, you don't know, but Raphael seemed to intimate that there are many religions in this world that it is not our job to understand. And he would spend at least one night every other week or so in the company of Suzanne Gibert.
There is someone I know who might know at least where he went.
Well, that sounds good.
You know that Gibert was often meeting Raphael outside of a bakery on Le Rue de Cheval.
You know, after sort of racking his brains for a few moments, say, right, let's go. And then he'll sort of stop himself. Oh, wait a minute.
Where are we going?
Well, I think I know where we can find her at this hour, but we'd better tell Amasis Philippe, where we're going and why. I don't know if it's a good idea to take him with us.
Oh, it might be good, like, for someone to remain. I mean, what if Hans comes back?
And look at him, it's not exactly as if we'll be inconspicuous walking down the Champs-Elysees with, he sort of is a bit lost for words, a mummy with us?
You know what? Yeah, I think he might stand out the most out of us.
He glows.
Yeah.
I think it's almost certain that the Gestapo would be on us like a shot if we did that.
Oh, I'm not arguing. I think he should stay.
Oh,
but...
I'm sorry, I mean, I know you're not arguing, I'm just slightly concerned that he might.
Why would he? If it's for the best, then surely he would understand, right?
He seems disconnected. I was expecting... I don't know. I suppose that he would have some sort of ancient knowledge, but he seems almost like a newborn with very limited skills.
Yeah, but he's also, like, very trusting. People who came in to, like, kill him and his servants, and they're just, like, bowing down to him, and then he's like, oh yeah, that's... Yeah, you're one of mine now.
Well, yes, but I mean, when I say a newborn, I mean a newborn god.
Well, yeah, but, you know, we do serve him, and if we try to talk to him and make sure that he understands that this is for the best and for his and our safety, then he'll probably give us his blessing and let us be on our merry way, don't you think?
A blessing? Ah, now, that is a good angle to approach this from.
Sharply, there is a loud banging on the front door of the cafe. You can't see it from where you are, you're in the rear of the building. But there's a rapid hammering on the door.
Is it like a police knock?
Very much so, and a raised voice commanding you to open the door. Ouvrez la porte! Ouvrez la porte!
Hold on, I'll handle this. Marcel, looking like he's been roused from a stupor. He'll probably lift a newspaper or something that happens to be sitting about, and he'll sort of like come forward and he'll sort of like squint at the door, even though he can clearly see who's there probably immediately. But try to make himself out to be a sort of fuddy-duddy who's been surprised by these people arriving.
Yeah, you enter through to the main cafe area where you can see through the glass window, glass door, who may be stood outside, and there's a small army of people hammering on your door and window. They don't appear to be military, and they don't appear to be Gestapo either. You are looking at a cluster of somewhere between 12 and 20 French people out in the morning hammering on your door as if there's a sale on.
It looks mystified by this, and sort of like just it moves forward, and the act of being the sort of confused fuddy-duddy immediately becomes the actuality of being a confused fuddy-duddy as he's wondering what on earth is going on. And he cracks the door open, like he's careful not to open it wide enough for people to burst past him, but he just kind of peers around it and says, "Yes."
Oh, we need coffee, cafe, and breakfast, monsieur. We are so thirsty and hungry, and this is the best place around. We all know so, don't we? Oh.
Do I know these people?
No, you've never seen most of them. You've seen a couple of them before. Though they drank here, or they've had something small to eat.
They're not regulars.
No, the door open ajar is enough for them to start surging in and start taking tables. Your waiting staff haven't even shown up yet.
We don't open for another hour.
One of them looks up at you. It is enough to just be sat in here and taking the ambience, monsieur.
Well, I'm glad you enjoy it, I suppose.
Someone asks you whether you have any croissants, another asks you for an apple, someone's asking you for coffee. They're suddenly bellowing orders at you. You have never experienced anything like this, and while the upswing in business is...
Yeah, he's kind of happy about that.
Yeah, it's positive to an extent. You've not got really any food prepared, let alone anyone on hand to serve these people.
I do have one member of staff in the building.
That's true.
Oh no!
Genevieve.
Yes.
Could you please assist me?
What do you expect me to do? I don't know anything.
Your job.
I scrub floors.
What? You sure? Have you never operated the croissant oven? I don't even know if they're made in an oven, but there you go. I'm guessing so.
You have like pasty bread, and then it's like the ones that you fold 100 times.
You've caught Genevieve out in a trap there, Marcel. Because, as Genevieve explains to you,
the science of croissant.
Yeah, the science of croissants, you realise she was just trying to get out of it. And so, for the next 30 minutes, 40 minutes or so, the two of you are locked in a production line of preparing breakfast and drinks for these people in the cafe. And
Can I make it clear to these people that I don't normally open right now and charge them a little bit extra?
yeah, and amazingly, they're quite prepared to pay it. It's not that money is in quick supply right now in occupied Paris, but they're being very generous with how much they are handing over. And back with Amasis in the guest room, where his eyes should be, might open now, as he feels like his dreams that he cast out have come to fruition. There's a following around him. There's a warm satisfaction of love and respect.
I sort of make to stand, satisfied. Not that I expected anything else. This was always going to happen. I was going to call and people would come. But it feels satisfying, I think. I've taken a moment in this guest room during the night. A few moments of inspection before I did all the meditation, to see if I can find clothing. I would like to dress in something more fitting of this period. Did I find anything?
Certainly, there's some spare clothes of Marcel's. This is the room he generally stays in.
Yes, I picked out a random assortment. As I look at the clothing, it doesn't, at this stage, really mean anything to me. I know what clothing is, but what is my fashion? What do I prefer? What colours do I like? I don't know. So I have just put on anything, really, to cover myself, for I do know that my appearance is, at this stage, not how it should be.
You ease yourself in some oversized blue trousers and a white button-down shirt. You can sense something about this room as you're dressing in Marcel's clothing, something very sad and almost memorial for you, that there's another room in this building where he used to stay. You can discern that once upon a time he would have slept there with someone that he cared about. And for whatever reason now he sleeps here in the guest room, and you've been occupying his space. There's a story to your cultist, and it's a sad one.
I feel I would like to know this story, but such stories cannot be forced. Trust must be gained from your followers before they share their secrets with you. Otherwise, you will never truly know their story. And I care. Yes, why do I care about stories? That is a question. And that's the question I'm ruminating on as I decide the time has come for me to go down the stairs and greet my new followers.
As Genevieve and Marcel are busy bussing tables, the figure of the deific Amasis, Philippe, comes down the stairs into the main cafe area, and while one could maybe cast a first glance at him and mistake him for something human, a second glance would confirm to anyone looking that he is certainly not that. His face, which does possess a semblance of more life than it did the night before, is still largely black and grey and cracked. The thrum of Sekhem within it is dulled slightly, but he has no eyeballs in his sockets. He seems to judder and almost phase in and out slightly. There's something unreal to his appearance, like it hasn't quite solidified yet. And it doesn't take long for everyone eating breakfast and drinking their coffee to stop what they're doing and stare at the mummy. A piece of croissant falls out of one of their mouths.
I step forward. Again, maybe this time that smile I offer to Marcel and Genevieve is a little less sinister than it was last night, although still maybe not really the most pleasant thing to behold. I turn to the room, and my voice comes out confident, assuring. There is a reason you have all come here. You are not mad. You are not cursed. You are chosen by me to serve. But this relationship is not all give and no take. That part, by the way, does sound a bit strange, almost as if I was remembering a saying and it doesn't quite come out right. You will benefit from this. All of you, if you prove loyal to me, will be rewarded. And you will all be serving the very fate of your world more than you can know. It will be confusing at first, but you will all understand eventually. Welcome. Welcome to your futures.
I would like you to roll a persuasion and presence roll, please, Craig. Willpower can add an additional 3 dice.
Can I assist him in this by trying to lead the charge, if you want, by sort of being the first to take a knee, as if it's the most natural thing in the world?
Yeah. Okay. So Marcel takes a knee to assist his master in his convincing cry, shall we say. And Craig, that means you get 2 additional dice on your roll.
This is going to be 9 dice then. Luckily, it is 2 successes.
The vast majority of people here stay exactly where they are. They are transfixed, agog, if you like, staring at this deathless creature, not knowing what it is they're looking at, understanding the words that are spoken in broken French, but not understanding quite what they mean. They were all summoned here as a result of their dreams. They didn't know why, they just knew that come the morning they had an immense craving for the food and drink that this particular cafe served, and they knew that they would only receive satisfaction if they could get in. But for a few of them, it's just not enough. The terror that is inflicted from your presence is enough to send a ripple, a shockwave across the cafe floor, and it's like it hits 3 of these people, 2 workmen and an older woman. They get up from their seats and they run toward the door. One of the men is screaming.
I nod for a moment. The truth is, I know that not all are worthy of the gifts I will bestow upon them. So I shall, for the moment, just wait. I shall wait and see who stays. How many run? The first ones to run, they can leave. But we shall see what happens with the rest.
A couple more stand up. One of them has soiled himself. It's quite apparent from both the sight and the smell. And he shuffles out, both embarrassed and too terrified to run in case it spooks you. Seeing him go, someone else stands up and tries to edge their way to the door as if they weren't in plain sight. By the time those that intend to depart have gone, you've got 10 people sat around still in complete awe of you.
Good. And I shall begin to move forwards and just touch each on the shoulder, saying how they are now chosen by myself to serve, well, me. And the ones who run, I shall not stop. After all, I don't care where they go. I think I recall that maybe one should be a little careful with one's unleashings of powers, but at the same time, I don't really care. No, I don't. I remember why. Why should I care? I am arisen. It never matters. It only matters that I achieve my goals. And it's at this point I will then turn to Marcel and Genevieve and say, good. They can't all be trusted immediately with everything, but hopefully they will now be useful to you. You, after all, are their superiors.
The others, he sort of looks out and sees if anyone's sort of glaring over at his cafe now that some people have literally run screaming from the door.
Shouldn't we have stopped them?
Why? They were unworthy.
But the situation in the city is tense. I don't know if it's a good idea to attract attention.
A burly workman at a table shouts, Don't question him! They were unworthy! They were unworthy, master! And he falls to his knees. It's a rival to your position, Marcel.
I turn to this individual and say, now, Marcel here is your superior. He and Genevieve here are high in my esteem, you will give them respect and do as they say. They are the ones you will be learning from.
Yes, fool, get up off the floor and take your seat. Another one of the cultists obviously trying to jockey for position.
You were saying, Genevieve?
Of course, if everyone knew about your greatness, they would flock to this cafe. But as the situation is, with the Germans invading the country, and we already have strict butter rations, so we can simply not serve the amount of croissants that are being requested. At least if we want them to be edible. What I'm saying is, the more attention we bring during war times, the more likely we are to be attacked by those who so brutally were in your presence during your awakening.
Well, if they attack my followers, they will find themselves at the swift end of justice. However... I start nodding to myself, almost as if I've come up with something very clever. Yes, you have a point. All of you, you will listen to Marcel and Genevieve. For now, you must be secret about your service to me. Do not go and proclaim my name from every street or watering hole. Be silent. Be clever. Be careful. Isn't that right, Marcel?
Yes, Lord.
So, my High Priest, we need to find him.
We've been discussing that.
Good. Tell me what you have... It's at this point, actually, I finally go to a chair and just sort of sit in it. But it's a strange sort of sitting, where it's not as if I'm sitting for my own comfort. It's almost as if I'm sitting to be nice to you and show you I'm listening. Come, Marcel, what have you planned?
By almost the force of habit, I guess, Marcel finds himself offering you the contents of a plate of pastries. But he just sort of like absent-mindedly holds it out towards you, just because you're sitting at a table in his cafe. But he continues talking, unfazed, and almost as if he doesn't notice what his own hands are doing. And he just sort of like glances over at Genevieve while he's doing it. Yes, we were talking about an associate of Raphael's who normally at this time in the morning can be found up on the Rue de Cheval. There's a bakery there. Raphael used to meet her most mornings. She's not initiated, so far as I know, but she might have an idea of where we could begin to look for him.
Very good. You are going to go and find out from her what you can find out, yes?
That's right, yes.
I approve. Do you need any of these new recruits?
Marcel looks at the up until 2 seconds ago complete strangers. He sort of loosely trusts Genevieve since she actually works for him, but these other people, he's not so certain he can trust them with a task of this kind of gravity. No, Master. Perhaps it would be best if they bring you up to speed on the current situation in the city while we are gone.
That would be wise. One more thing. Genevieve, have you collected any of the texts of my cult? I would like to read them now.
I look over to Marcel. Where do we keep these sacred texts?
I probably know where some of them are, because I've read them. But I don't know if Marcel knows where all of them are stored. It could be that he was given them by Raphael and then they've been taken away from him again.
Indeed, whenever you had need of a sacred text, or whenever Raphael deemed that you had need of it, he would bring it to you, and then once you were done with it, he would take it away. This wasn't an egalitarian cult. It was a pyramid scheme, and Raphael was definitely on top.
Was these sacred texts he was really spoiling us? Well, I suppose I know where he lived.
You knew where he kept an apartment, yes.
The texts were in the possession of the High Priest, Master. I think he, if I was to guess, may have kept something around his own apartment, but I suppose they may have been kept at another complex or some other institution that I'm not aware of. I was, to tell you the truth, only in the second circle of initiation.
However, Master Philippe, if it would please you, we are very willing to go to the apartment of the High Priest and scout around for any of the possible relics. However, we are not able to properly deliver them onto you at this moment.
We should be very careful if we're going there. If the occupying... He's trying to use terms that Amasis will understand here. If the occupying army has taken him, then they might well be watching places that they know, like, for example, his home, in order to see if any of his accomplices come looking for him.
Well, that might be where we send Hans when he comes back. Or possibly one of these newbies. Or no, wait, these newbies can't really be trusted. Something like that.
Well, I am disappointed that they are not available. I will need to chide the High Priest. My text should always be available when needed. I do not understand why he would keep them in an apartment. That is a home. Why would he keep them in a home? That is not a fitting place for them. However, that is not your fault. Very well. Yes. Go and do your scouting and your things. I trust you both. I shall remain in this cafe, you said it was. Yes?
Yes.
Cafe.
At this point, Marcel realises he's been holding out this plate of pastries and sort of, kind of tactfully withdraws it, hoping that you don't notice.
I don't even blink.
Genevieve and Marcel depart the cafe, and the next several hours in Amasis' company is a whirlwind of information. Amasis is of a mummy's guild, obsessed with the accumulation of knowledge, the expansion of lore, the recording of all events in history and the future onto an apparatus, a supposedly divine relic known as the Scroll of Ages. And if what these cafe patrons, your new cult, has to say is true, then the world is currently in the grip of a war. Well, it does bring back flashes of memory for you. You can remember wars, you can remember the bloodshed, you can remember people dying by the thousand for no good reason other than a king or pharaoh or emperor just got consumed by the forces of avarice. And so you hear someone tell the tale of how these Germans, he describes them as, invaded the homeland. You hear another describe how he lost his brother on the front. You hear an old man describe how he's now lived through 3 wars between these two nations in his lifetime. And each time he has lost a family member. Now he's the only one left.
Yes, the more they speak, the faintest of memories finally surface. I have indeed heard of wars. I have known many. Always the same, although I admit on this one the numbers, they are large numbers. Are there even that many people in existence? Did there always used to be that many? Maybe once, but then there was not. And I feel their stories. Every story they tell me reminds me that I care. But why? To record. To observe. That's why. I do feel for them as well. But I am not one of them. I cannot truly understand them, no. But I can note and maybe prove that this is all meaningless. Yes, that's right. It is all meaningless, especially in the eyes of the judges. And admittedly, some of the things they say, they do sound as if maybe some of these things they call the marvels of technology. Yes, one person goes on about something of a latest invention. Doesn't my judge disapprove of that? Or does he approve of it? That I can't remember. But yes, it's important. And I spend the time learning and listening and offering kind words and reassurance that by serving me they are going to see some justice.
A young woman who is listening to everything you say, quite rapt. She sighs. You know, my great-great-grandfather, he once operated the guillotine. If but we just had the wherewithal to line these invaders up and put their heads on the block. And that sparks something in you. It sparks a very strong memory in you. Could you make a memory roll, please?
Certainly. How do I do that?
You roll a die for every dot of memory that you have.
4d10. 1 success.
You remember the thump, chop of Madame Guillotine. You remember the heads tumbling off into baskets, being held aloft for the pleasure of the baying crowd. You remember a woman's eyes locking with yours. And there's a flash memory. Genevieve? It wasn't her to look at. But suddenly you're starting to wonder, is there a deeper connection between you and this cult initiate? Why is she so present in a memory from what this cultist is describing to you now, almost 200 years ago?
This is interesting to me. And troubling, yes, I remember the guillotines. There were so many. It was here, in this city. I was here before. Interesting. And at the same time, just this feeling of regret all of a sudden. Is that a regret that nothing has changed? Maybe a regret that I was unable to change anything. Interesting.
Marcel and Genevieve, are you splitting up or sticking together?
Well, have I met Suzanne before?
You've seen her, but Raphael never made the introduction.
Well, I'd probably best go and meet her since I at least know what she looks like. So would spot her if I see her, rather than just asking around. He'll tell Genevieve where the apartment is, and anything else I know about it, like if there's something we need to do to get in the door sticks a bit, whatever.
Yeah, feel free to be creative with your description.
Yes, he keeps a key under the milk bottles. They're old milk bottles. Like, you'll see the new ones sitting. Well, there's not many kicking about anymore. So you'll see a bunch of old ones lying there. 2 of them are broken, I think. But underneath that, there's a loose brick. He kept a spare key under there. You should be able to find it. To be honest, it kind of makes me think he wouldn't keep the sacred texts in a place where he had a spare key literally sitting outside. But you never know.
Might find something else of use.
At least, yeah, there could be a clue or a diary or something that lets us know where he was going. In order that we know we're both all right, shall we meet back here? We'll have this conversation in some sort of public square. Shall I meet you back here in about an hour or so?
Sounds good to me.
If either of us don't appear here in that time, then we'll assume something's gone wrong.
It'll be fine.
I admire your optimism.
Well, you gotta have something to live for, otherwise you won't last this war.
Well, it's unsurprising someone as young as you've not seen so much of the world as I have. And he kind of looks a bit depressed.
Master Philippe is quite intriguing. I really did not expect people to suddenly show up and worship him on the spot.
Well, to be honest, I don't know if I expected it, but who can say what we should expect? We're moving into the realms of forces we can't possibly comprehend.
You part ways at the crossroads. Genevieve, you're heading to the apartment, I assume.
Yes.
It's not too far a walk. The street is starting to become somewhat alive with people. It is still early in the morning, but those who have places to be are going for walks. It's almost impossible to travel a street or two without seeing some military presence here. It's become a part of regular everyday life now that there'll be an army vehicle or a couple of officers sat outside a cafe. From what you understand, this is where, or at least this is what a lot of other French people say, this is where the weak soldiers go. The pampered ones, the ones with connections. The ones who are worth a damn for fighting are all sent to the Eastern Front. That's where you go to earn your Iron Cross. Otherwise, you just get sent to Paris to perform citywide guard duty.
They're on their little holiday. Ugh. Well, I can't say I'm very pleased with what I'm seeing, but I'm trying to hide my disgust as not to, give them any reasons to talk to me.
No, by keeping your head down and walking straight on to Raphael's apartment block as described by Marcel, you're able to reach it without disturbance. But, as mentioned, there are soldiers almost everywhere, and even a cursory glance around this area tells you there's a couple of... You don't think they're officers, so they must be off duty. They're still in uniform. A couple of young soldiers leaning against a wall just on the other side of the street, sharing a cigarette. They don't appear to be looking directly at you.
No, but the fact that they are in the area makes me a bit at unease, because I don't think they will be very happy to see me scrambling around some broken milk bottles and, loosening bricks to find a key and then walk into an apartment. Might have to distract them in some way.
Do a wits, and let's see. We'll roll wits and streetwise.
One success.
One success, that's enough, that's all you need. With your knowledge of the streets in these parts, you know, and it may not do the job, but you know there's a hydrant a little way down the road, just out of sight from where you are now. Whether letting a water leak off would be sufficient to draw a bunch of soldiers' attentions, I don't know. But it's the best you can come up with, short of breaking a window or causing some loud commotion that might just draw attention to yourself.
Well, I don't really want to draw attention to myself unless it's to direct attention elsewhere. So let's see what we can do with that fire hydrant. I don't think a small leak will be very concerning. It might just have to, cause a bit more of a ruckus. And, their allegiance isn't exactly with this country either, so would they care? Probably not so much, I think.
But they might be curious.
Indeed. Well, I approach the fire hydrant and, look around for a bit, make sure that nobody sees me, and, well, I'll try to sabotage it.
If you could roll either a strength and crafts or a resolve and crafts, please.
1-8.
Okay. It's enough to open up the hydrant, which is more of an automated pump, and start it spewing over the street. You do so without anyone seeing you immediately, and I assume, are you doubling back toward the apartment via another route?
Oh, yeah.
You're not standing around.
No, I would not want to be seen or caught doing what I just did, so I pretty much just bolt.
Okay, you bolt to the rear of the apartment and circling your way back around. By the time you get to the front door, the soldiers are gone. You can still hear the spray of water from the direction the hydrant was in, so they're clearly having difficulty putting it back together, if indeed they're even trying.
Yeah. Well, quick look around. If no one's around, then quickly I hunch down to where I see the milk bottles. Okay, what was it? It should be old milk bottles. 2 of them. Do I see them?
Yep.
Okay, and then there was a loose brick somewhere.
Just as Marcel described, you find the loose brick.
And is there a key underneath it?
There is.
Well, I yank that.
Checking the addressees on the front of the building, you can find someone with the surname Ney, N-E-Y, Raphael. You can make your way up to his apartment.
So I head there with a little spring in my step.
We'll jump over to Marcel in the meantime. Marcel, where are you headed?
Marcel is headed for La Rue de Cheval. He'll make his way down there and see if he sees this woman who he recognises as Suzanne Joubert. And once he's established if she is there or not, he will make his decision.
You make your way to the patisserie, and the woman isn't standing outside. You thought it may have been a long shot in the first place to find her there. But the bakery is in operation.
Yeah, he'll go in.
Hello, monsieur. What is it that you would like?
Do I know the owner of this patisserie, or is it just a guy?
You don't know him. He's a rotund gentleman with a face full of whiskers.
He acts as if he does know him, and he puts on his sort of fast-talking, friendly exterior, and he will say, good morning, monsieur. I was hoping to find 2 things today. A friend of mine, who I don't see here.
He pounds some dough as you're talking.
And perhaps one of your pain au chocolat. Your famous pain au chocolat.
We do not know where you have been, monsieur. We have no chocolat here. Not for the last 6 months. He stretches out some dough.
Well, sorry, I'm not long back. It doesn't go any further than that.
I understand, monsieur.
But, oh well. Perhaps you've seen my friend, Madame Joubert?
Are you talking about my wife or my daughter, monsieur? And be careful with the answer.
Ah, I see. Well, the person I'm looking for is Suzanne Joubert.
No, that would be my daughter, so be very careful about what you say, monsieur. He pounds the dough more violently than before.
Yes, Marcel can't help but imagine his face as that lump of dough at this point. No, my intentions are not anything.
And
like
what
that.
are your intentions?
She is a friend of mine, and I was wondering if she's seen him.
He throws the dough onto the counter, walks away from you, leans out through a door, and shouts, "Suzanne! There is a man here to see you."
He'll sort of stand, cap in hand, looking every inch, not threatening.
Your intentions had best be noble, monsieur. The last man that mistreated my daughter, well, he disappeared, and it is just as well for him that he did, otherwise he would be face first in the Seine with my hand on the back of his head.
Oh. Do you know the name of that man?
Why?
Oh, I just wonder if we aren't looking for the same person. Because I think he may have gone missing, because I can't find him.
Before he can answer, a young woman appears at the bottom of the stairs, and you recognise her as Suzanne.
Ah, he sort of gives a very formal bow.
Oh, father, this is one of Raphael's friends. Oh, is he now?
Pardon me, Monsieur Joubert. I was simply trying to ascertain if Suzanne here knew perhaps where he could have got to. I can't find him.
He stole money from us and disappeared. So no, if we knew where he was... If we knew where he was, we would be looking for him ourselves. But we did our bit, we could not find him. He has either left the city or been taken by the Gestapo.
Well, perhaps I can help get your money back.
Ha! Go walking with him, Suzanne. I do not like this man. Sorry, father. And she leaves the patisserie with you.
He gives another sort of stiff bow and heads outside.
I am sorry, monsieur. My father, he is very jaded.
I can understand.
I think I recognize you. I've seen you with Raphael before then.
I'm not particularly memorable, to be honest.
No, I've definitely seen your face before. You work in the cafe, don't you?
I own the cafe.
Ah, Raphael never told me that you owned it.
Ah, well, he wouldn't, I suppose. So, I understand he was taken from some sort of dancing hall or taverna. Do you know?
Let's walk a little away from the bakery.
Ah, okay.
I had heard such a rumour as well, that he had been picked up by the men in leather coats, as they say.
Yes.
I cannot think for why. There were always rumours that he was involved with the resistance, but... Monsieur, I assume you are of the same religion as Raphael.
You could say that.
Well, I am of a similar faith. There are not many of us in Paris. And, monsieur, I do not think that he was picked up because he was in the resistance. I think he was picked up because of his beliefs.
Do you think... And he sort of looks around now. I mean, they are quite alone as far as he can tell, right?
Yeah.
Because he pauses there, and he's like, "Oh, you think the Nazis have one of them?"
I think that there are probably more of them than we truly know. And why would they not be here with the Nazis just as easily as they would be among us?
Because they're a they're a force for good, right?
I do not know if all of them are a force for good, Monsieur. From what I discussed with Raphael, my god, seems to be of a different mind to yours, at least according to legend. But they are certainly forces of nature.
I'm not sure if natural's the word I would use to describe him. Still, well, if that is the case, then we can't let Raphael fall into their hands for too much longer.
Monsieur, if they are interrogating Raphael, I can only imagine it will be a short space of time before they are at your cafe. It may even be not too long before they are knocking on my door. I have already woken my mistress, and she is contemplating whether we need to leave this city, whether it is too dangerous for a creature even as potent as she.
Well, perhaps she would feel more comfortable if she had some of her own kind by her side.
I do not know what would happen if they mixed. She talks of once upon a time being in the company of others like her. They do not always get along, but then again, I suppose neither do we.
No.
Just look at the bastards invading this country. Monsieur, if your god wishes to meet with mine, come by here tonight, just before curfew, and slip a note under the front door.
Are you fluent?
In their language, no.
Well.
But you do not need to write anything explicit, you just need to draw a symbol. Let us choose one. Something that cannot be mistaken for the resistance. How about a Christian cross? Put that on a piece of paper, slip it under the door, and I will know that your god wishes to meet mine.
I'll bring the truck. I think it's best to keep him shrouded.
Oh, I understand that, monsieur.
He doesn't seem to, unfortunately.
No, they do seem to wake with a certain obliviousness.
Well, okay. I will speak with him.
But monsieur, if you know where if you do find Raphael, please tell him that I am still waiting. But I cannot wait forever.
Waiting for your money back?
No, monsieur. He borrowed money from my father to buy a house for the two of us. We were to be married.
Oh, I'm sorry.
It is the nature of this war that young men are dying every day. I have come to accept that in a very short time, that he is probably already dead.
Marcel gives her quite a sort of pained look, as much as she's right and he knows that. He finds it not impossible to come to terms with, but he doesn't want to come to terms with it, and he thinks that the act of coming to terms with it, of accepting it as normal, or the new normal, is almost a surrender too far for him. And he just looks quite sad to hear her, speaking like that about someone she was going to marry, with this sort of resignation. But he'll just sort of then nod in kind of acceptance of what she's saying, since she is actually, factually correct. Okay, you don't know anymore though, right? You don't know where he was picked up or where he was frequenting that night?
I do not know for a certainty, but I do know that he enjoyed spending time. There's a bar. It is called the... I suppose it is... he always found the name amusing. It's called the King's Head.
The King's Head. I'm surprised that survived.
The artwork on the On the shingle is of a headless king, hence
the head wasn't attached to the king, I see.
It is a bar within sight of where the guillotine used to stand. The one that took Louis's head.
Thank you very much for your help, and if I can be of any assistance, please let me know. You know where to find me. I will consult with my friends, and hopefully tonight I will see you again.
Oui, monsieur, it has been my pleasure, and you do not need to worry about my father. He is old and he is grouchy, but he will not hunt you down for spending a few minutes talking to his daughter.
If you could inform him that my cafe is looking to expand their selection, and if there's anything he feels he could add to the menu, I'd be happy to talk with him about it in future.
Certainly. I admire your ability to jump onto mundane business. I suppose we all need to earn a living, don't we?
Yes, but there also has to be some reason why I kept you this long.
True. Well, I will keep an eye on the door and check whether you slip a piece of paper underneath it tonight.
We shall see. Until then, good luck.
Au revoir, monsieur.
Bon chance.
Amasis, your cultists have now been gone for a little while. Certain members of the cult who were in your cafe are now peeling off, heading to work or back to their day-to-day. A few, though, are sat around staring at you in reverence like children at story time. They want to know about you. They want to know parts of your past. But of course, those are gaps that are quite difficult to fill.
Yes. For now, I will try and appease them with simple truths. That I am a being beyond them. That I serve the greater wills of this world. And, yes, that I recall some of the things they've said, but unfortunately for now, yes, I feel as if I do have much more to say, though. This is a familiar sensation for me, but no, I cannot recall anything else for now. At least nothing I would share.
An old man supplicates before you, and looking up. I feel like I have been waiting for you my entire life, my God. And I do not know why I say this. And he starts weeping.
I place a hand on his shoulder. I try to smile, and I say, there is no need to weep. But tears are not a bad thing. I will not chide you for crying.
Oh, thank you. Merci, monsieur. And the bell above the door goes as you see Hans walk in. Now, you're not the only person that sees Hans enter. Other patrons do, and upon seeing a German soldier enter, a whole raft of them depart quickly, without ceremony, without goodbyes, and it perhaps strikes you at that moment that the sheer weight of fear that revolves around these invading Nazis is it's almost enough to parallel the admiration, the adoration they had for you, and that's alarming. As seeing you up and about, Hans is shocked himself.
Hans, you return. I hope bearing good tidings.
Yeah. What are you doing in plain view of everything, my Lord Philippe?
These are new followers. You will be aiding them as best as you can, especially to make up for your own transgressions.
Oh, yeah. You can see he's got bandages over his face and hand now, and a fresh uniform.
I look at the uniform with a little bit of distaste. Again, I have learned at least a bit more of this time, this world, and everything I have heard displeases me. I do not feel... I understand, of course, that countries war, and that it is not always the people who live in them. It's not always their fault. But all wars, at least, are led by some, and in this case, it truly seems as if this country that Hans comes from is being led by people I dislike, and causing this fear, this suffering. I disapprove. I say this much to him.
I wasn't... He looks ashamed. I was not... I was never given the choice, Master Philippe. It was this or be declared a traitor to my country. One of the few remaining cultists in the cafe laughs at this claim, and Hans, angrily, aside of him, all meek that you've seen him so far, shouts out, "Shut up!"
Hans, you will not speak to one of your new brethren in such a way. It is not...
No, of course not. Master Philippe, I must... the reason I have come here is because I must take you away from here quickly.
Why?
I believe I have found something of great importance to you, Master Philippe, something that will help you unlock so many of these memories that seem to be eluding you.
I look him over very carefully as he speaks. I believe my eyes of justice, they give me a bonus when people are lying to me.
They do? So you're going to be using your eyes of justice on wits and empathy.
Yes, and I shall spend a point of willpower to add 3 more dice, making that go from 6 to 9 dice.
Impressive. So please describe what you're doing.
As he speaks, for a moment it is as if things slow down just a little. I look into him, past his body language, even though that is familiar to me, and almost into his soul. And it is there I look for the truth in this matter. Is this a deception of some kind? I roll 1, 2, 3, 4 successes.
Oh, you've seen this before. In fact, this brings back a memory. It reminds you of a cultist you once had, Carol, who promised you once that she would move your relics, your vessels, to someplace safe. And she disappeared, and when she did, your camp and your cult, what remained of it, was ambushed. The same timbre of voice, the same tone, the same measured responses, the same twitchiness, the same flickering of the eyes. You've seen all of this before. You've seen it. It's a repetition. It's fate playing with you. It's the judges sending you a sign. Hans is trying to take you into a trap.
I remember the name Carol, and as I remember it, I am filled with misery. Because Caroline, she was loyal, but she was not. I sort of, as he finishes speaking, sort of mouth, Carol. And then I advance upon him. I spend one of my pillars to increase one of my physical attributes by my Sahem level. My Sahem currently is 8.
Yes.
Meaning my strength is now 9.
Yes.
and I grab him by the throat and thrust him against the wall.
You break him. His spine just snaps. You're not sure whether it was broken before he hit the wall or when he connected. It doesn't really matter, but the life has already left his eyes. And as his body drops, you can see through the glass pane of this cafe front window an array of other men dressed as Hans was dressed, in uniforms of green and grey, some in black. You know an ambush when you can see one. And you can see every thoroughfare leading out of this place, lined with these people converging on your habitat. Genevieve, you make your way up to Raphael's apartment.
Yes.
With key in hand.
I unlocked the door.
You don't need to. The door is already hanging off its hinge.
Ah, well.
Are you going to enter?
Well, I carefully kind of pop my head to the door frame and take a look around.
This apartment has been ransacked. You can see books have been pulled off of shelves. Crockery and glasses have been smashed on the ground. Tables have been overturned. The furniture has been ripped apart. Someone has clearly been looking for something.
Can't say I'm surprised, but I'm still disappointed. Kinda hoped that it would be untouched, but... And I don't even know what I'm looking for, so I bet these people who came here, they had a better idea of what they were looking for.
Do an empathy and wits roll, please.
No successes, and also a critical fail.
Ooh.
Ooh.
You assess the scene, and really what you're gleaning from it is, well, nothing at all, quite frankly. If someone was looking for something, you have no idea whether they found it, whether they destroyed it, whether they missed it in the wreckage. Honestly, it's impossible for you to tell. You know what some of the vessels associated with your Arisen look like or feel like. You know the feel of Sekhem. You are an immortal yourself. But you're not picking anything like that up here. Far from it. It feels like a void of energy.
Then I should probably not really linger for long.
You hear the front door of the apartment block downstairs open and shut. You can head further up, you can hide in the apartment, or you can walk straight down the stairs nonchalantly.
I'm almost leaning towards the latter, but then again, can I use common sense?
You can. What question would you like to ask?
What would be the safest way out?
As Genevieve has common sense, it occurs to her that the safest possible route, if someone is coming up to investigate the apartment, would be to head further up. If someone is looking for her in particular, heading further up is just going to delay the inevitable. There isn't going to be a way off the roof. So, your best bet is to head up. Do you wish to knock on any other apartment doors and see whether you can find sanctuary, or are you just going to try and make your way to the roof? You can hear a couple of pairs of boot steps clomping up the stairs.
I'll try knocking on one of the doors.
The boot steps are getting closer and closer, and then the door opens a fraction. There's an old lady, round of face with thick spectacles.
I need just a brief moment of shelter. There are some playful German soldiers that don't really seem to accept when a French woman says no. I was wondering if I could just wait them out for a bit.
I'm not going to make you roll for that. That's a compelling argument. Your argument convinces the old lady, and she pulls the door aside and allows you in, closes the door quietly behind you. I know all about the German soldiers. I lived in Belgium during the Great War.
Can't believe they would just march in like they owned the place, and like they own us.
Shh. We need to be quiet. Shh.
You're right, of course.
They may go door to door. Her apartment is full of cats. You spot at least 7 of them. On countertops, in her chair, on the dining table. It's about all you can really focus on to take your mind off the fact that 2 men may be after you right now. Then there's a hammering on the door. Demand, open up in the name of the Gestapo.
I look towards the woman's, like, where should I go?
She folds her arms and she gestures for you to sit down on the chair with her head.
Then I do that.
She adopts the stoic poise of someone who is not going to be pushed around by an invader. Someone hammers on the door again. Open up, this is your last warning. She huffs, her back still to the door, and keeps her arms crossed. A cat meows. The 2 soldiers tramp off up the stairs. I think that was a close call, young lady.
I can't thank you enough. Those men, they just abuse their powers, don't they?
Give any young man power and he will abuse it. Now we'll cut to Marcel for the final scene of the session.
He, sort of, as he's leaving Suzanne, he's having some thoughts about what the conversation they've just had, but he's sort of absent-mindedly making his way towards the rendezvous point, and then he looks at his watch and it occurs to him that he has a little bit of time, and the bar's close, or close enough at least, and he kind of straightens himself up a bit and thinks, yeah, I've got time, and he turns around, changing direction and heading for the sort of, well, it's in a public square, I believe, because it's where Louis was relieved of his cranium. So he makes his way up there, stopping for a moment to sort of glance around the historic site. He's been in the square many times and just never thought of that before, that such things happened there in the past. He wonders if Amasis saw that or was involved in it, maybe. The whole thing sort of just bends his mind, and he just can't help but try to ignore it and push it away. And he tries to get back to himself, back to the good old trustworthy, stoic, smiling, happy, everyone's friend, but no one remembers him, Marcel, as he breezes through the door of the King's Head. Not even sure what he's looking for or who. He'll have a look around, see if he sees any faces he recognises. If not, he will immediately approach the bar.
Even at this time of morning, some people are sat there drinking beer. It's never too early to have a glass of wine or a glass of beer. You don't recognise anybody here, no.
Well, being slightly more flush with cash than normal after his takings this morning, he'll approach the barman.
How can I help you, sir?
Forgive me, I'm actually inquiring after someone. Could I... Sorry. And he sort of scans the available beverages. He'll choose something that he doesn't feel is completely classless to drink even at this hour. Some sort
Pernod and water it is, sir.
Yeah. So he'll order something and pay for it with a healthy tip on top of it. And he'll say, sorry, and he'll sip his drink.
What brings a working man into the pub at this time of morning to drink a liqueur, if I may ask? Are you celebrating something?
Actually, I'm looking for someone who we don't know what happened to him, and
he frowns immediately and backs up.
His wife or fiancée, she's worried sick. I'm just trying to see if anyone knows anything about it.
When people disappear and no one knows what's happened to them, sir, we all know what happens to them. Some threads should not be pulled.
I see, but just if we could know that it did happen, then that might draw a line under it for her.
He starts cleaning a glass. I will not comment on anything that the Gestapo may or may not do.
Not even insofar as to say that they did do it.
If they did, I wouldn't confirm it.
So they did?
I should serve some other customers, sir. I'm sorry for your friend. And for you.
He just nods his head in understanding of what that means. I see.
As the barman walks away, there's a voice from the other end of the bar. Excuse me, did I hear you were looking for a lost friend?
He glances over. Is this person German?
No, he's speaking French. He's a very slender, attractive young man with golden hair.
Marcel slides on over to him.
I'm sorry to eavesdrop.
Not sorry enough to not do it.
No, indeed. But when anyone loses a friend, monsieur, I feel obliged to help. I am something of a private investigator, monsieur. I find people that are missing, irrespective of who might have taken them.
Well, just it would be enough for us to know that he has been taken. As I say, we just want to give his fiancée some sort of idea of what happened. It was all so sudden.
Well, do not take the naysaying pessimist's view as fact, monsieur. Not everyone that goes missing is taken by the Gestapo. Some try and flee the city. Some go into hiding because they think they're being hunted. Some simply take up with an attractive woman.
Well, if that's the case, then I think she'd definitely want to know.
What is the name of your friend, monsieur?
Well, he shares a surname with the former marshal.
Oh, Ney. Marshal Ney, the red-headed one. Yes? From the Napoleonic era? He is the most famed marshal of all.
A man whose loyalties were for sale.
Sometimes regarded as the greatest lord of war that France ever had.
By some, yes.
By some who did not know better. Yes, I know of a man named Ney.
Do you know where he is?
I think I could help you find him.
In exchange for what?
Oh, monsieur, all I usually take is, I take money as payment, of course, as anyone else does. A franc is as good as a Reichmark here, and I am doing quite well out of both. But my only contingency, because I need to know that, of course, I am not going to pursue some errand for you and then be left in the cold. I will need you to come with me.
Now?
If time is of the essence, monsieur, I think I could probably find him rapidly. because there was a nay in this very bar just a week ago. And I think I was here on the night that he went missing. Because he was taken, monsieur, but I do not think he was taken by the Gestapo.
By the other lot?
I think he may have been taken by the resistance, monsieur.
Yes.
But it is your lucky day, monsieur, because I have a lot of friends in the resistance. If your friend is still around to be found, I will be able to find him. Come with me now. I will make some introductions.
Hold your chevals. He is far too trustworthy to just go bringing off with this guy after promising Genevieve that he'd wait for her at the appropriate time. He'll say, "Can I perhaps meet you?" And he looks at his watch quickly. Maybe 15 minutes.
15 minutes is fine. I'll meet you by the dried up fountain, not a block from here.
Okay, I will see to my business and then come back for you.
Mm-hmm. As you depart the bar, you know that his eyes never leave you.
Yeah, I mean, he's walking away immediately thinking this guy's shifty as hell. He's very possibly someone who would sell you to the highest bidder, and sees Marcel as little more than a commodity to be traded rather than someone to be helped. But he's quite certain he'll take his money and then whoever it is that's paying for him. He's seen his sort before. However, he's given his word to Genevieve that he would wait for her. He's also given his word to Amasis that he'd serve him and try to find his high priest, despite the fact that he seems to have been clowning around with the member of another cult who very well may have betrayed him. And all of these horrible thoughts pass through the pessimistic mind of Marcel as he makes his way to the rendezvous.
You have listened to a special episode of Red Moon Roleplaying, where we played Mummy, The Curse, 2nd edition by Onyx Path Publishing. Mummy is hitting Kickstarter on November 5th, so do keep your eyes open for that. Our storyteller was the gentleman gamer Matthew Dawkins. Check him out at matthewdawkins.com and his Patreon to keep him creating more dark stories for all of us to enjoy. The music was made by Beyond the Ghost, and was used with permission from their label, Cryo Chamber. Check out their website at cryochamber.bandcamp.com or their YouTube channel for some moody, dark ambient. We would like to give very special thanks to our champions of the Red Moon, Martin Heuschober and David. And we would of course also like to thank all of our patrons for making the show possible. If you want to support our work, please check us out on Patreon. You can get access to bonus campaigns for Cult Divinity Lost and Coriolis there, as well as get early and raw access to all of our recordings. You can also get your name read on the show and play Cult with us. Most importantly, this support is what keeps the show going, so do check us out there. Thank you again for listening, and see you soon again.